On the Gaming Superstars segment of Jats Games today, we have Greg Arthurton, the Nintendo 64 Marketing Manager. Greg's come on to tell us a bit about the Nintendo 64 console and the Star Wars Episode 1 racer game. Hi Greg, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey Jason, good to be here.
Could you tell us a bit about the Nintendo 64 console and what makes it different to any other one?
Yeah, sure. Well, the actual console itself now has been on the market for about 30 months. We released it back in March 1997. Since then, it's been a very successful product for Nintendo itself. I think one of the really good things that I like about the Nintendo 64 console is the fact that it's got the 4 ports at the front. So you can actually have 4 people playing at any one time on the one TV. So, I mean, it's a great social thing to get around with your friends, have a bit of a muck about, play some of the games. And also with having some of the great 4-player games that we do have, you know, it really is good fun to play with the Nintendo 64. Also of late too, when we sort of introduced the expansion pack that came out in the market January of this year, you know, that's just been an absolutely amazing product with kicking it into like medium to high res graphics, but also being able to throw in more and more graphic ability, more and more sort of worlds, more and more weapons, depends on how those programmers want to use it, I suppose.
Okay. In the past, Nintendo created GoldenEye, an excellent movie tie-in, and now they've done the same thing again with the Phantom Menace. Can you tell us how Nintendo managed to recreate the pod racing scene from Phantom Menace?
Yeah, well, they basically took the plans from the movie itself, from the track itself, from that track that was based on Tatooine. I hope that's how you pronounce it. And they basically used that. They tried to recreate it as closely as possible as they did with GoldenEye. And from that component onwards, they actually used and tried to actually manipulate that track, recreate it faithfully, and then try and develop more and more tracks across other Star Wars worlds to try and make a complete game out of the whole thing. So that pod racing sequence from the movie generated or instigated the whole game itself.
Okay, so can you tell us about some of the characters from the movie that we'll see in the game?
Yeah, sure. Anakin Skywalker, of course, I mean, he's the hero of the whole movie itself, or he's the hero of the pod racing sequence. You can play as him. I mean, he's probably one of the key characters in the game itself. The other probably notable characters in the pod racing sequence is Watto. You go to Watto's shop to trade up for bigger and better parts. And also Sebulba, who is the pod racing champion of the Phantom Menace. Yeah, he's in there too, and he's Anakin Skywalker's greatest enemy or greatest challenge to beat. So it's all good fun.
Okay, so what are some of the add-ons we can get for the pods throughout the game?
Well, as you progress further through the game itself, and as you get better and better, whether you become first, second or third, you get money points, which you can go back to Watto's shop and trade up for bigger and better parts, bigger and better engines, bigger and better handling, bigger and better flyability, I suppose, with the pods that are actually using themselves. So yeah, I mean, the more you earn, the more you win, the more you go back and buy up and power up your pod to be a bigger and better machine. Okay,
so I hear this game has an excellent 2-player mode. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, it's basically a classic 2-player split-screen racing. It's your typical type of time attack where you're playing against a fellow person, same track, going flat out to see which one's the fastest, which one's the best. Okay,
this sounds like an excellent game. What other games are coming up in the lead up to Christmas?
We've probably got 3 really key games coming up that we're really excited about. The first one would be Pokemon Snap, which is coming out in early September. It's the first time that those cute Pikachu and all his friends are going to be seen in 3D for the first time. So, you know, I think the kids will go absolutely nuts over that. And it's a funny game. It's basically you're going through a carriageway across Pokemon Island and taking photos of all the little Pokemons in their natural habitat. And the better the photos you get, the more points you score and the more you progress through the game itself. But it's an amazingly addictive and involving game. Then in October, we've got one of the ones that I'm really looking forward to, is a game called Super Smash Brothers. Super Smash Brothers involves Mario, Donkey Kong, Yoshi and all their friends, including Pikachu actually. And they basically just go to biffo on each other. They're basically just trying to beat the crap out of each other and see which one's actually the biggest and strongest of all the Nintendo characters. And then in late November, early December, I suppose, is the big one that's coming out with the release of Donkey Kong 64, making his awaited debut in a Nintendo 64 game. So that's going to be an absolutely awesome game. I saw some original footage of that a couple of months ago, and it's looking absolutely fantastic. It's got mine carts, bananas, vines, all the things you'd expect in a good Donkey Kong game.
Cool, that sounds excellent. We're actually going to be showing you some footage of Pokemon Snap later on in the show. Greg, I'd like to thank you very much for coming on. It's been excellent hearing all the information.
Great to be here.
And that was Gaming Superstars.
I'm Greg Arthur from Nintendo, and this is Jat's Games, and you should watch it too.